Imagine this. You are born, not into a family, not into a world of chaos and pain, but into a perfect slot. Your entire life's purpose, your pleasures, your relationships, even your intelligence, were decided for you in a laboratory bottle long before you took your first breath. You will never know loneliness because you are never alone. You will never know heartbreak because you are conditioned to desire only what you can have and to have it without attachment. You will never know the shattering weight of free will because every choice, from your job to your daily dose of happiness, has been engineered for you. This is not a prison. It's a paradise of stability. There is no war, no poverty, no conflict, no God. There is only the warm, obedient hum of a world that has solved the human equation. This is the world state, and you are happy, aren't you? But your happiness, it feels thin, doesn't it? Synthetic. Like the taste of strawberry soma, the perfect pleasure drug you take to smooth any edge of discomfort. You laugh with your friends, but the laughter is a conditioned reflex. You feel a surge of passion, but it's for a communal, empty ritual. A quiet, ghostly question begins to form in the back of your conditioned mind. Is this all there is? You immediately dismiss it. After all, everyone belongs to everyone else. To want something different is not just wrong. It's unthinkable, a sign of antisocial sickness. Yet, the ghost remains. And in that haunting, silent space between your programmed contentment and the faint echo of something more lies the central, devastating paradox of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. The paradox is this: what if the greatest threat to humanity is not its suffering, but the systematic elimination of it? What if, in our desperate, ancient quest for safety, for comfort, for pleasure without pain, we willingly surrender the very things that make us human? Our art born from anguish, our love forged in risk, our faith wrestled from doubt, our science sparked by curiosity for the forbiddens. Huxley's genius was to see the future not as a boot stamping on a human face forever, as Orwell would later imagine, but as an infinite, velvet-lined cradle, rocking us into a blissful, trivial oblivion. The dystopia of Brave New World isn't imposed by a screaming tyrant. It is chosen. It is purchased. It is swallowed gladly, 1 gram of soma at a time. So the chilling question the book places before you, the reader standing outside this perfect world, is not, could this happen? But the far more uncomfortable, is this already happening? Are we, in our own pursuit of frictionless lives, algorithmic contentment, and pharmaceutical perfection, already whispering the vows of the world state? Do we trade profound, difficult meaning for shallow, reliable happiness? The book is a key, cold and precise, waiting to turn in the lock of your own complacency. It doesn't just show you a fictional society. It holds up a mirror to your deepest, most modern desires and asks, what are you willing to sacrifice to have them all satisfied? Your humanity? Your soul? The answer, Huxley whispers from 1932, may already be echoing in the hum of your devices, the promises of your advertisements, the quiet yearning for a world without sharp edges. The door is there. The key is in your hand. Do you dare to turn it and see what, or who, you really are on the other side? If these questions haunt you, subscribe to dive deeper into the diagnosis. Your thoughts are the first act of resistance, so leave a comment below. Let's diagnose the disease. The world state's perfection isn't an accident or a miracle. It is the final, logical product of a single hidden problem that Huxley believed was already metastasizing in the civilization of his day. This is not the problem of tyranny, but of efficiency. Not the problem of hatred, but of conditioning. The root cause is the systematic eradication of what the world controllers call the problem of pain, through the weaponization of pleasure and the annihilation of individuality. But peel back the sterile, scientific language, and you find a more profound, ancient flaw: the human desire to escape the terrifying, beautiful burden of being a self. Huxley's key concepts are your clues. Genetic engineering. From the decanting jar, Humans are no longer born. They are manufactured into 5 strict castes: alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, epsilons, each biologically designed to love their preordained servitude. An epsilon doesn't resent his menial labor because his engineered stupidity makes it satisfying. Hypnopedia, sleep teaching, where moral and social maxims are whispered to infants for years. Everyone belongs to everyone else. A gram is better than a dam. These aren't learned beliefs. They are the bedrock of reality, etched directly onto the subconscious, the feelies. Art designed purely for sensational gratification, stripping away any complex emotion or thought. And above all, soma, the perfect drug with all the advantages of Christianity and alcohol. None of their defects. A holiday from reality that never demands a return ticket. This is where Huxley connects to deeper psychological currents. It's a direct assault on the Jungian concept of individuation, the difficult, lifelong process of becoming a whole, integrated self by confronting one's own shadows, contradictions, and passions. The world state surgically removes that possibility. There is no shadow to integrate because there is no authentic self to cast one. There is no unconscious. It has been pre-populated with state-approved slogans. It is the ultimate victory of B.F. Skinner's behaviorism over Freudian depth, of programmable response over messy introspection. Now, feel this in your own life. You are not sleep-taught in a nursery, but are you algorithmically conditioned? Your feeds, your entertainment, your news, curated to reinforce your existing beliefs and desires, creating a pleasurable, frictionless echo chamber. You don't take soma, but do you reach for a substance, a scroll, a binge, to numb an edge of anxiety, boredom, or existential unease? The promise is the same: a quick, easy exit from discomfort. We may not have state-mandated castes, but do we not increasingly seek the comfort of rigid tribal identities, ready-made ideologies that spare us the vertigo of thinking for ourselves? The hidden problem Huxley diagnoses is the infantile wish for a world without tears, and the terrifying adult power we now possess to grant it. The consequence of ignoring this is not a revolt. It's a silent, collective shrug. It's the gradual atrophying of our capacity for anything deeper than a like, for any love riskier than a swipe, for any truth more challenging than a platitude. The world state is not built on our fear. It is built on our surrender. It asks a devil's bargain. Give us your loneliness, your uncertainty, your pain, and in return, we will give you eternal, tranquil amusement. But as the ghost in your mind whispers, what is left of you after the deal is done? The answer lies in the fate of those in the book who, for a fleeting moment, remember what it is to be a human being, and the system's brutal, efficient response to that memory. Let's trace the infection to its conclusion. When the human soul is systematically replaced with social stability, what kind of world blossoms from that hollowed-out ground? It is a world not of violent oppression, but of profound, inescapable emptiness. A world where every human longing has been provided for, and in that provision, utterly annihilated. Consider the pillars of this new reality. History is abolished. All books published before Ford are locked away. Why? Because history is a record of tragedy, passion, faith, and rebellion. All these socially destabilizing forces the world state has eradicated. To read Shakespeare is to be exposed to the terrifying, glorious spectrum of unengineered human emotion. It is a biohazard. The family is obscene. The words mother and father are met with disgusted laughter, the most shocking profanity imaginable. Why? Because the family creates private loyalties, fierce loves, and personal Oedipus complexes that could compete with the state's claim on the individual. It is the ultimate decentralizing force. Nature is an enemy. The citizens are conditioned to avoid and despise the natural world. Why? Because nature is untamed, unpredictable, and beautiful in a way that the sterile, controlled environment is not. A sunset might inspire a feeling the state did not schedule. A quiet forest might provoke thought. This is the silent, total victory of the instrumental over the sacred. Everything, people, art, science, intimacy, is reduced to its function in maintaining the system. Love becomes having someone. Art becomes visceral sensation in the feelies. Science is no longer a pursuit of truth for its own sake, but merely a tool for improving production and conditioning. Even death is conditioned away, with children playing games around dying wards to normalize the end of life as just another trivial process. The stakes are nothing less than the death of meaning itself. In a world without suffering, there is no need for courage. Without struggle, there is no achievement. Without loss, there is no love that matters. Without the possibility of madness or despair, there can be no transcendent art or philosophy. The pinnacle of human culture becomes a blank, grinning face. This is the unseen consequence, a global, contented infantilization. The citizens of the world state are perpetual toddlers, given bright toys and chemical lollipops whenever they threaten to cry, forever distracted from the vast, haunting cathedral of human experience that has been bricked up behind them. But the system's true brutality is revealed in its treatment of the sick. What happens to the rare alpha who, through some fluke of conditioning, feels a genuine, undirected emotion? Or the beta, who reads a line of poetry and wonders? They are not tortured. They are sent to the resident world controller for a friendly chat. They are offered more soma, a change of scenery, a vacation. The violence here is epistemological. It is a violence against the very categories of truth and feeling. The dissident isn't told they are wrong. They are told their feeling doesn't exist, that it's a mere physiological glitch to be corrected. The greatest punishment is to be exiled to a place where you are forced to be free, to feel, to be an individual, a fate the conditioned citizen views as unspeakable horror. This is the world shaped by the problem. A gilded cage so comfortable, so entertaining, that the very concept of a key becomes a form of madness. And it is into this world that a single jagged shard of the old humanity is thrown. A man born not from a bottle, but from a mother. A man called John, the Savage. And his arrival poses the ultimate destabilizing question. What happens when a soul, aching with the raw, painful beauty of being human, steps into a world that has declared the soul obsolete? To ensure you don't miss the final, devastating conclusion of Huxley's warning, subscribe now. Let us know in the comments. Would you choose the right to be unhappy? Enter the counter-agent. The flaw in the system, the jagged shard. He is called John, the Savage, born of a mother in the squalor and intensity of a Mulpihis reservation, a barbaric, uncontrolled fragment of the old world kept as a living museum. He arrives in the world state not as a revolutionary, but as a pilgrim. He has devoured the complete works of Shakespeare, the last remaining scripture of unfiltered humanity. He speaks in the language of passion, of sin, of redemption, of meaning wrestled from suffering. He is the living, breathing prescription for the world state's sickness. And his presence is a catastrophic mistake. John's entire being is the solution Huxley posits, not as a political program, but as a state of being. It is the right to be unhappy, the right to feel deeply, even if it destroys you, the right to choose your own damnation over a prepackaged salvation. To him, the sterile pleasures of the world state are not paradise, but a profound blasphemy against the human spirit. He sees in Lenina, the perfectly conditioned beta, not a goddess, but a strumpet, because her love is a public utility, not a private vow. He recoils from the feelies because they are a parody of real feeling. He refuses soma because he wants to deserve his happiness, to earn his joy through effort and pain. His prescription is the radical, counterintuitive embrace of the full human experience. He worships not comfort, but intensity. In the reservation, he sought purification through self-flagellation. In London, he tries to create his own zone of suffering, a private garden of atonement amidst the plastic cheer. He demands the right to grow old, to be ugly, to be repulsed, to be heartbroken, to be free in the most terrifying sense of the word. His framework is Shakespearean. Life is a tragedy, a comedy, a romance, a story with stakes. The world state has replaced the story with an endless, pleasant loop. The central, agonizing conflict of the book is not a battle, but a conversation, a series of devastating dialogues between John and Mustafa Mont, the resident world controller. Mont is not a monster. He is the most terrifying antagonist of all, a brilliant, regretful, and utterly convinced guardian of the dystopia. He understands the cost. He has read Shakespeare and physics. He chose stability over truth. And in their philosophical duel, Huxley presents the book's most profound choice. Mont offers the final seductive argument. You're claiming the right to be unhappy. John agrees. Not to mention the right to grow old and ugly and impotent, the right to have syphilis and cancer, the right to have too little to eat, the right to be lousy, the right to live in constant apprehension of what may happen tomorrow, the right to be tortured by unspeakable pains of every kind. There is a long silence. The prescription is laid bare. It is the right to all of it, the horror and the glory. Mont's world has eliminated these rights to eliminate the horror. John screams that it has eliminated the glory along with it. This is the path to resolution Huxley maps. The conscious, agonizing choice of difficult meaning over easy happiness. It is the choice to feel the storm, even if it sinks you, rather than live forever in a climate-controlled room. But here, the book turns its prescription inward on itself, asking the most brutal question of all. Is this path survivable? Can a single, authentic soul, raised on the poetry of wholeness, actually live in a world that has amputated the very concepts he needs to breathe? John tries to build his own island of truth in a sea of lies, but the ocean always seeps in. The system's final weapon against his prescription is not violence, but its own relentless, trivializing, pleasurable weight. It turns his tragedy into a feeling. It makes him a spectacle. So what becomes of the soul that chooses the right to be unhappy when the entire world is designed to make that choice look like madness? The answer is the book's final, devastating synthesis. John's rebellion does not end with a bang, but with the silent, relentless erosion of a soul by a world it cannot comprehend. He retreats to a lonely lighthouse, attempting to purify himself through fasting and self-flagellation, to create his own savage monastery in a world without God. But the world state, in its ultimate act of deflation, turns even this into entertainment. Crowds of thrill-seekers flock in helicopters to watch the savage whip himself. They gawk, they film, they chant for more, and in a moment of ultimate tragic profanity, they offer him soma. The final temptation is not pain, but the promise of release from the pain he has chosen to feel. In a frenzy of betrayed idealism, he turns his violence outward, whipping at the crowd, at the embodiment of the empty, consuming world. But the system does not fight back with force. It simply watches. And then it moves on to the next distraction. The crowd, bored, leaves. John is left alone with the crushing realization of his own futility. His tragedy was not a grand Shakespearean fall, but a meaningless spectacle in a world that has drained all meaning from suffering. That night, in the ultimate horrifying synthesis of the old world and the new, he swings himself. He uses the one ancient final tool of escape left to him, in a place where even destroying will be tidied away and forgotten by morning. This is Huxley's ultimate, unbearable truth. In a world that has abolished the sacred, even martyrdom becomes a trivial entertainment. The final victory of the dystopia is not in crushing the rebel, but in making his rebellion irrelevant. The paradigm shift brave new world demands is not to see tyranny in chains, but to see it in infinite choice without consequence, in pleasure without depth, in community without connection, in a life engineered to be so light that it simply floats away, leaving no trace of a self behind. The book's lasting impact is not a warning about a specific government, but a diagnosis of a spiritual sickness, the temptation to trade the unbearable weight of freedom for the comfortable, empty arms of an engineered fate. It asks you to look at your own world, at the siren songs of algorithmic contentment, pharmaceutical bliss, and tribal certainty, and to see the ghost of the world state smiling back. It is a monument not to what we fear, but to what we might willingly, gladly become. So as the final page turns, the haunting question is not for the characters, but for you, the reader, standing in the real, messy, painful, and glorious world. The book leaves you with a chilling, essential choice, the same one Mr. Famant made long ago, and the one you make every day in smaller, subtler ways. Do you choose the right to be human, with all its terrifying, beautiful risks? Or do you choose the warm, silent, and smiling abyss? The dystopia is not coming. It is here, in every temptation to choose the easier, softer way. And as Huxley's masterpiece whispers across the decades, the only resistance is to feel, to think, to love, and to suffer, deeply, consciously, and on your own terms. To clutch the precious, painful right to your own unhappy, authentic soul, and never, ever let it go for a gram of soma.